Hi,
Hi.
how are you doing?
Thank you for having me.
Thank for coming here, Dr. Melissa. You are a very famous dentist,
That's really nice.
right? And you're not just an internet personality. You're a dentist, full-time dentist. I think you're a mother. I think you just had a
I
baby.
just had a baby. She is 2.5 months old,
Yes.
and I miss her.
And, you're in the IADR, so you're a researcher also.
I do a fair bit of research.
Is there anything else that you don't do? Like you do a you do a lot of things.
You know what? Right now, I'm probably not sleeping as much as I should, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I dabble in a lot.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, thank you for being on the podcast. And I just wanted to ask you, like, first of all, like, what does the IDR mean to you? Like, why do you join it? Like, what kind of what do you see to get when you attend this event like this one? Like, what do you look for when you attend these events?
My answer is probably not what you would think it would be. It's really the connections. I love to meet people that they are doing cutting edge research that answers my most pressing questions. So the posters are phenomenal. It's a great way to get a lot of information quickly. The lectures are exceptional as well, but I love to talk to the people at the front lines of the research. So, for example, I'm interested in 3D printing. I'm interested in where we're going with 3D printing, what to expect. And it was awesome today getting to pick the brains of some of the clinicians doing the most forefront projects on this and really understanding where are we with 3D printing. So it's a phenomenal opportunity to meet great mentors and teachers.
Well, these meetings are an awesome opportunity for networking also. Like, you get, like you said, you see the people that are doing this research, you make connections. So obviously, the best, one of the best places to be if you're interested in research, right? Uh, Other than that, how do you, how can I say, like, how do you use your platform to promote like evidence-based practice? Uh, I know like there's a lot of media out there for people to get their information from,
Yeah.
and making sure that information like this is evidence based and this is the information that reaches the audience is quite important, right? So for you, like, how do you get people to get to follow you for your evidence based practice,
Yeah.
basically, or evidence based information? Yeah.
Well, I think that's the interesting thing because in the information era, we have more access to information than we've ever had before. Also, I'm talking to the microphone correctly, right?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
We have more access to information than ever before. That's no longer the problem. The problem now is being able to decipher what is and is not good information. And so I am enormously grateful and very blessed to be a benefactor of a lot of good mentors that I think have shaped my line of thinking. They shape how I approach things. And so I think that's enabled me to perhaps be a good curator of resources, of evidence-based topics, and the type of information that's being disseminated.
I see. And for people who are out there who are looking forward to follow in your footsteps of like being science communicator, like best practice communicators, women out there, who, I think you're someone to look up to,
That's really
because,
kind.
seriously, because, you're wearing many hats, obviously, and you're doing your best and kind of being the best science communicator or like information communicator out there. You interview a lot of famous dentists and researchers, and you make sure that people who listen to the podcast get the right information. So what's your advice to people who want to follow in your footsteps?
I would say the first thing is, first of all, trust your gut. So once again, in the information era, with us being so much information being put out there, if something, the way it's being presented to you doesn't sit right, you should question it. So for example, you'll see a lot of people on the lecture circuit that are pushing things that are not evidence-based, and you might sit through that lecture and just say, wait a sec, none of this makes sense to me. If you're feeling that way, you should trust your intuition. And I think that's really important in this era. But I also think that mentorship is everything. Have people in your life that care about you enough to give you really constructive feedback. Mark Lotta, a lot of respect for him. I had a really nice coffee with him today, and I got some really great constructive feedback. And I think that really goes again to like our approach with evidence-based dentistry, ignoring the fake news, is having people in your life that are able to steer you and guide you.
you mentioned mentor more than one time. So
Yes.
obviously that's a key word, in order to get better at what you do, right? One more thing, just and I know you're busy. You have your
No,
poster to do.
got all the
So
time in the world for you.
just the last question. For what do you think dental podcasts in general have an advantage over other methods of portraying information or delivering information
Yeah.
to other people? Many, I think in the States, podcasts are quite popular, but maybe other countries still don't. In other places, let's
Yeah.
say, maybe they still don't see the benefit of dental podcasting. So, in your opinion, like, why did you start your dental podcast, and what do you see the benefits are from having a dental podcast and relaying the information that
Yeah.
you want through a podcast?
So first of all, I'm also just a voracious consumer of podcasts. I love it because
Yeah.
I like the idea of habit stacking where I might be doing one thing and now I can fold in another good practice. So maybe I'm cleaning the house and now I can listen to a podcast and get high quality evidence-based information. I think the benefit though of a podcast is it gets information out there a bit faster. So that's the challenge. We were just talking about 3D printing. One of the challenges with digital dentistry is that by the time the information's out there, it's almost obsolete because things are evolving so quickly that, yeah, again, once it's published, we're kind of on to the next iteration. So that's sort of the downside of, I guess, the very thorough peer-reviewed process in high-impact journals. But those also have immense value. It's far more scrupulous. Full disclosure, something like a podcast, it's a peer review process of just me. So maybe it's not as scrupulous. So I'll say that. The challenge right now with knowledge translation is the trade-off that you face where it's either you get the information out there quickly, but
Yeah.
it might not be as meticulously reviewed, or you go through the thorough peer review process, but maybe it takes
So it's
longer
gonna
for the
take some
information.
time to get
Yeah,
there.
so it's a trade-off. And I think people just have to be scrupulous and know what does peer-reviewed really mean.
Yeah, well, it really comes down, like you said, like people need to really think for themselves. If something doesn't sound right, like you said, like you have to do your own investigation. Just
Yep.
don't take someone's word for it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for
Thank
your
you
time
for
here.
having me. This was an honor.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate your time here. Hopefully everything goes well with the presentation, and hopefully it's see you in the future too.
Awesome.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.